Exactly.
Well, good morning. Good morning. We are live now. How are you
Yay,
this morning,
live.
Scott?
Let's go. Let's do this thing.
Let's do this thing.
Already
How
had
was your day?
did some bloodletting this morning already, so that's awesome.
Bloodletting? Bloodletting? What is bloodletting?
Had some blood drawn.
Oh, oh, my
Always
least
fun.
favorite thing to do.
Nothing but a thing.
I think
Ready?
I've just had bad experiences.
It was somebody asked me yesterday, and I wanted to be accurate, and I said, you know what? I don't know that I can be accurate.
Okay.
So I wanted to be accurate. The question was, what does Jena all handle or do with her business?
Man, that depends on the client. We're narrowing the scope, so I think most people, as they transfer from freelancer to more of an agency, they have a tendency to want to do it all. The other problem is getting good people, right?
Right.
So even if you don't do it all, so right now we can act as a full service digital marketing firm, but we don't do it all in-house.
So what do you specialize in-house?
What we specialize in is building fully integrated funnels. So your website completely marries to all your other applications and takes somebody from step to step in the funnel. So it's not just websites, because all funnels are websites, but not all websites are funnels.
Right.
And then completely marrying those, especially with the email integration and anything like SMS or mini chat or those other sorts of things like pop-ups, or as something pops up on my screen. It's like, cute pop-up. Those are what we specialize in. And then we do content writing is another specialty in social media. When it comes to Google ads, we outsource those to a platinum Google partner who is phenomenal. So they do the technical work, so I don't have to keep up with every 248 changes a year Google makes. And then I handle the strategy behind it and make sure that the pages are converting and that the wording is right and the offer is right. So
but
say funnel building, but
well, that's what I'm saying. It's more funnel. It's more the digital outbound marketing and automation.
It's a lot of automation. Yeah. A lot
So
of
not
copy. The copy is the one thing I have not been able to successfully hire out yet.
Website building?
Well, it's part of, it's a funnel is part of a website, whether you call it a landing page and it's limited to a landing page, or it's like the U+1 where we're building an actual website. And then the blog posting, there are certain things, as we started off in social media, that, I had a client spending $500 a month to handle his Facebook account. But the problem is he's selling a product that could be as much as $200,000. And social media alone, like, he had pinned all his hopes that this would make this big, Randy, the only person Jena can't help is me. That's not true, Randy, unless you don't want to be helped.
I was going to more say the only thing that you can't help is those not willing to be helped.
Well, and sometimes, love you, Randy, sometimes we put little things involved, like, well, if you build me a funnel, then I'll be overwhelmed with clients and I can't serve them all. Like, that's not quite how that works.
That's not how that works, because then you have alliances that you can dish those off to.
Well, there's that, but you have to drive traffic. So that's,
right.
We're narrowing down our scope to only build fully integrated funnels. We're not going to do anything piecemeal. And we'll have one that doesn't include traffic, one that includes, some Facebook, some baby traffic, and one that's all in. You hand it over, and one of our first clients is probably going to be a fellow digital marketing partner who's kicking butt in the Google ad space, but he doesn't want to actually manage the rest of his own funnel. When we build funnels, we don't want to do it for ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's what, when somebody asked me, because we were in that conversation, and I said, well, full service, to a certain extent, full service agency, outbound marketing agency, but everything from funnels to digital automation to lists to this to that. And so, but again, I wanted to I
I don't make
realized.
phone calls.
Yeah.
Outbound. When you say outbound, a lot of, I think the way the marketers describe it is inbound. I'm not actively reaching out to anybody on their behalf.
Yeah, you're really the attraction marketing piece.
It's attraction marketing. Inbound marketing is what we call it internally. I'm creating blog articles that people will find through search engine optimization. I'm creating a blog post that we can actively send out an email that will help engage and move the client along. So I don't build SEO for SEO purposes. I build blog articles that happen to be SEO optimized, that we happen to be driving traffic to, which is SEO. So I think I just got tired of all the piecemeal pieces, right? Like somebody does a Facebook ad, someone does a Google ad,
right.
You drive it to your home page, nothing looks the same, the messaging's never the same, and nothing's integrated or works together, so you have to do it by hand, no automation.
Right. Well, that was, and part of the question came up because it was directed at us at U+1. And because we had and again, part of this was before you and I started doing these double funnel lives, right? So Sean and I have done a fair job of putting some things together. In essence, it's like our notes and our whiteboard sessions become a page, or we put together in the systems that we had prior.
Okay.
But they weren't necessarily all complete. So it was really somebody talking about us and going, what the heck are you doing? Mm-hmm. And you'd be better served to actually pull back some of that stuff. And it was like, well, what's funny is, number one, you're right. I'm not arguing that whatsoever. Better to have it out good than better out bad. And we had like 3/4 of a really good landing page done, and then the rest was in Latin. And we forgot that it was out there. Just telling it on ourselves. This is what happens when you're an entrepreneur, though, right? You go, you work, and then all of a sudden something pulls you away from that portion of work, which is the value of having somebody like you on the team. That was the whole point of all this.
Oh, okay. It's you know what? I think first I wanted to acknowledge Randy. Randy said, I still need to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And I think that's all of us. I think narrowing down anything, everyone I talk to, nobody wants to leave anything out. They don't want to leave anything on the table. They don't want to niche down. They don't want to specialize. I mean, doctors love to specialize because that's where the money is. They know it.
Right.
You're the only guy who can operate on a very particular brain aneurysm. There's 2 in the country. It's East Coast or West Coast. You automatically get everyone from half the country.
Right. It's actually this, doing these lives every day is helped me a lot refine what I want to do when I grow up, which is, by the way, sitting on a catamaran in the British Virgin Islands. But it's exactly. See, when you have all this digital automation, then that becomes reality.
It does.
See?
I was just talking to David yesterday, man. I just want to live on a boat. I don't know about a catamaran.
No, you want a catamaran. It's much more stable. It's nicer. It's more fun.
Oh, yeah. If you're doing a smaller boat, I'm talking about like a cruise ship where everything's done for me. If I'm doing a smaller boat, definitely a catamaran. I've always wanted one, and I went to take out one of those little bitty catamarans the last time we were at like a Sandals or something. It was a complete disaster. I have no business
that's
sailing
not the same,
at this point
not the same thing.
I flipped it over. I'm surprised my glasses stayed on. I even managed to put it back on the water.
Not the same thing.
No.
We're talking about one that has 3,000 square feet of deck space and a crew. So that's the way to do it.
Yes. So let's go. I'm gonna hop over here to
who we doing?
We're gonna do you guys. End broadcast. No, not end broadcast. Wrong page, wrong button. Oh, not that one. That one.
Who sent some information in that is enough to build from?
I know, right? I know. Of me. We'll work on maybe some Dwayne later here this week. He was actually in the hospital.
That's no fun.
No, it is not.
Most of the time, at least.
It's never fun.
I know, I was kidding. Kidding.
I've never been a happy camper in a hospital, even if I'm visiting. Let's see if I can squish my screen so it comes out better on live. There we go. All right, so you know where we actually were too? We were in the U+10 active hosted.
Yes.
All right, and what was it? Automations we were missing, and a page. So let's look at your November sales funnel, since November is already like, what is it, November 6th?
All day.
Speaker packs, use +1, drilling wells. Not building, drilling.
Drilling wells.
Alrighty. So let's go. See what we got here.
What? We got revenue? Awesome.
Book Sean now, book Scott now, call us now. Donate $10 to drill wells for clean water and developing nation. For every $10 donation, get a $1,000 travel savings passport to save on hotels, resorts, car rentals, activities. Donate $10 now. Drill a well for Thanksgiving. What are we doing?
Well, we're working to assimilate $5,000 so that we can, it basically costs $5,000 or thereabouts to drill a well. So we want to actively achieve tranches of $5,000 or more so that we can then make that donation to accomplish that.
Okay.
But that was the question I asked you the other day. There's no place on there that it says we need to accumulate $5,000.
It's a little small. That doesn't bother me so much. But this one, make this tinier. Or we copy it over. I really dislike when things automatically add a period.
Yeah.
So for the first time, I learned how to make that little line, where it's just the vertical line to separate.
Yeah, the vertical line, it's next to the brackets on your keyboard.
I know.
That's a capitalized line.
I've been copy pasting them forever because I didn't know how to build one.
That's interesting.
And then one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to do this.
Perfect.
I'm going to take all this formatting off. Where is the formatting hiding? Sometimes it just likes to be there.
Yes, it does.
Oh, you know what? It's not formatting. It's an actual space. There we go. No, I wasn't crazy. I mean, I'm crazy, but it's a whole other story. Okay, for every $10 donation, drill a well for Thanksgiving. $1,000 to drill a well for Thanksgiving. How's that?
Yeah.
Actually, don't like the purple in there.
Going aqua?
And no, I want the numbers to stand out.
Got it.
Let's see if I can kind of. Circular. The circle one's a little hard to play with to get it to look exactly the way you want it to. But I just like the circles better than the tickers. They just look like.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was funny. A friend of mine sent me an email today that has a countdown timer in the email. And, take action. And it really looked cool.
Yep.
I really like it.
We discussed this background image.
That's the business background image that
we
used on the other I think on the other page.
Let's see if we got some water wells. What comes up? I don't want to completely steal from one of the company pages. The little country.
So Randy is asking the question, do people really want to see how to make the sauce, or are they more interested in how to use the sauce to grow their business? I've got a thought on that, but I'm sure you do.
Let's hear yours.
My thought is the answer to that question is yes. There's a group of people who want to see you make the sauce. Hello, Rayanne. There's a group of people who want to see you make the sauce. Oh, I like that picture to the right with all the bucket barrels where they're gathered around.
The bucket, this one?
Yeah, that's kind of a cool pic. Back to Randy's question, I think there are a certain group of people who want to see how you make the sauce, and then some people, and that comes down to the personality types again. Certain personality types want to know every bit of every bit, not necessarily so they can execute it, but they want to know that they know that they know it. Then there's another group of people who begrudgingly get the knowledge because they just would rather have it done. They don't necessarily want to do it themselves. I learn it because I feel like I need to know it so that I can do it if I need to do it. I don't necessarily want to do it. And I think that's the difference. I think some people want to know it so they can do it. Some people want to know it so they can audit it. In other words, they now can have an intelligent conversation with the person who is executing the process to ask intelligent questions or to make again, it was what I came to realize about the page you're working on right now. After I looked at it, it's a great looking page, right? You look at it and you go, wow, that's a really good looking page. And then you go, huh, but it doesn't say anything about it takes $5,000 to drill a well. So you can appreciate the construct of the page, and yet you can still ask a question about it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the knowledge of what you're working to accomplish on how to make the sauce, see, I know we have to affect human behavior who looks at that page. That's the how to make the sauce thing.
Yeah.
Right? Or that's a how to use the sauce. And then therefore you have to go back to how to make the sauce. If somebody's, does that make some sense?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to who you're trying to reach. It's always good to know your client avatar.
Right.
If your client avatar is a business, like I have clients who are like okay, they want to hear me talk about it and how I do it because they want to know that I can do it. But when it comes down to, they're never going to watch something like this because they're busy doing what they do, right?
Right.
But they want to know enough that, hey, okay, she knows what she's doing. Okay, you need to go do it, right? There's someone else out there who wants to learn. There's someone, like you said, who wants to be able to ask intelligent questions. It just depends.
Yeah, no, it all depends. There are four temperaments. I mean, Hippocrates, discovered this thousands of years ago. There are four temperaments, and those four temperaments are the learning styles. The four temperaments are the buying styles. They're the presentation styles. They're all of that. And we all have a little bit of all four temperaments in us, but there are certain things that we want to know for certain reasons. And so again, part of what we're doing with U+1 is there are portions of each person who are attracted to what we're doing. But if we speak specifically as we design our information to speak a little bit to this person and a little bit to this person and a little bit to this person, a little bit to this person, all four temperaments, we'll have greater adoption of what we're working to do. Right?
No, it makes
So,
absolute sense.
so I mean, I think it's, it depends on temperament depends on buying style, personality, what they're looking to do. As an example, you and I were looking at that exact same page of pictures,
Uh-huh.
and all of a sudden that particular picture hit me. Now, the question is, will that picture hit everybody? The answer is no, it won't. I mean, it would be naive to think that it will attract everybody the same way. It's not the way it works. People are attracted for different reasons.
Press the resize image.
Oh, Randy, you're going deep. You're going into the old school language. Sanguine, caloric, melancholy, and phlegmatic. I mean,
Phlegmatic doesn't sound like something I want to be.
no, it really is. It really is. None of those. That was the original four fundamental personality type studies done. Oh my God, I can't even. It's actually funny because I used that in a presentation one time. I started from there just to make the point that this isn't new. This has been around for a long time. But then you take it and you drive it. Before Myers-Briggs, way before Myers-Briggs. That's we're getting, see, look at the training that's happening here.
Oh, I know. I covered up your face. His comment is so long. Sanguine is the optimistic, active, and social, choleric, short-tempered, fast or irritable, melancholic, analytical, wise, and quiet, and phlegmatic, relaxed, and peace.
So so it's Socratic. Yeah, exactly. It goes all the way back to again, this was back in the Four Temperaments era of being able to treat people medically, was actually developed in the Four Temperaments. But now we've taken, and that's actually one of the things that I teach these days, is as opposed to the Four Temperaments of the presenter, it's really the four buying styles of the receiver. It's really how they buy now. And there's just as big a difference there. So, quote unquote, I'm sanguine by that definition, which is true. And caloric is the CEO. That's the short-tempered, fast, bang, like that. Then melancholy is the accountant. They're the ones that grind on the numbers, and are the analytics, and the phlegmatics they just love everybody. They're the huggers. They're the, on one side, by Randy's words, the phlegmatic is what will be attracted to that picture because they're peaceful, they're caring, they're whatever, but they don't necessarily take action very easily. It resonates with them, it hits their heart, but their call to action is significantly different. Isn't that interesting? So what you have to do is you have to include them in a lot of things. Now, what does get them to take action is they also want to create community. They love community. So when we're drilling a well for clean water in developing nations, that's creating a community of people that care, which is where they will take their action. The cause itself gets them to be excited about it, but right. It's the community that's created around it, the harmony, the contribution, the involvement in doing something to make a difference. And so that's why I say that U+1 is really social entrepreneurialism. It's a for-profit business designed to solve non-profit problems. Right? We're working to, how can we help solve some of the issues of the world? Whether some of it's education, some of it's contribution, some of it might be drilling wells, some of it might be putting families together with travel.
Right.
There could be a lot of things. Take your kids to Disney World. Man, we saw a great Disney World deal last night, by the way. We were doing a webinar. $136 for 8 days, 7 nights at a resort at the main gate, 1 mile from the main gate of Disney. Whew, hot deal.
Drop shadow.
That looks good.
I didn't. I kind of liked it all by itself. Overlay. Here's what I'm looking for. Ooh, too bright, too bright. Still want to see the picture.
That's a powerful picture, though, isn't it? Because it still brings. Here's what I get from that picture. If you know anything about these developing countries and what's going on, is typically the women of the village, well, women and children, but typically the women and the children walk anywhere from a half mile to 5 miles to go get the water. And then they carry 40 pounds of water. That's one jug. If you looked at that and you saw all those jugs, now they've come within their village, very close to their homes. They can carry more with less effort. That's pretty freaking cool.
That is cool.
I know you're working. I'm just rambling. Don't worry about me.
I'm gonna go get another picture.
But I like that. I really like the way that picture. Randy feels the background is too light. I'm reading you the stuff.
It's too light. Yeah, I have to read the text, Randy. If you can't read it, it's not going to be effective. Even the button.
You have a point there. And Randy says, because it is a great picture.
It is a great picture. And we'll use it somewhere else.
Awesome.
But right there, I need it to allow me to see the words. How did I find that picture? I forgot which search terms I used. Oh, maybe that was...
water wells, I think, right there.
No, the water wells didn't work.
I'm going to go over to another potential source. While you're doing that, and I'm going to look. I'm going to get in on this.
There's one. Oh, you know what? I like that one.
Which one?
Luckily, I was on
yeah, that's good.
AppSumo, and on a fairly regular basis, they have a deal for 100 stock photos for like $47. And I will snap it up so I don't have to pay full price for stock imagery like this. Look at that one. I even got a well in there.
I know, that's a great pick. You do know about, would you like a royalty-free site as a resource?
Yeah, I've got royalty-free sites. In fact, inside Visme, it has all those royalty-free sites are actually linked into Visme. And so I can go into one database and I can search all the royalty-free sites. The problem is the quality of the images available and pixels. Yeah.
Well, I have had zero. You all of a sudden froze. Must have been an amazing suggestion. But the quality of the images there are phenomenal.
Okay. I have no idea what happened there. My screen just went black. And I am now trying to go through and redo this, but I can't figure out how to block. No, block's not the right word. I can't get the green screen. Oh, nope, don't want black. Why? Why halfway through? I open the broadcast windows at the same. What does that button do? Oh, that's logo. Huh. Didn't know how to turn that off. It's so weird. I don't know how to do any of this. I might have just blocked that. Come on, Be Live. Anybody who wants to let me know what they see, that would be great. Problem is, that's my screen. I blocked Scott. Facebook. So weird. Sorry, guys. Having technical difficulties. There we go. Yay. Okay.
What?
There.
What
my
happened?
screen went black.
That's not good.
It just went black.
That's what happens when you take it to the Apple Store.
I just need to maybe take it all the way in and tell them to refresh it before the warranty's out. Randy, I agree, Scott. All right, let's share. Let's share a different screen.
Yeah, it's weird. But I like that look at again, everything. It's interesting because I was talking to somebody early this morning. I was doing a little coaching call this morning, and he heard something yesterday, and somebody said, "You're selling from the minute you get on stage." It happened to be talking about a presentation,
Okay.
and I said, "Yes, that's true, but actually, you're presenting from the minute the event starts."
Yep.
From the actually that you arrive at the event location is when everything starts. People think that their presentation starts when they get on stage and they've been announced. That's not true. The presentation started forever ago. Oh, I like that picture. Look at where that well is.
Mm-hmm.
Great spot. So your presentation starts the minute that you start going. Period.
Yeah.
The first time anybody sees you, any and all of that.
I think that's looked pretty sharp there.
Everything is a total experience. Very true, Randy. Yep, everything. So people are people sit there and say, well, people shouldn't judge and they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that. Well, then they're just shouldn't all over themselves, because the fact is,
can't do that. Not while I'm drinking. Yeah, I'm just gonna drop this joke in there like it's nothing.
Well, the point is that whether they should or shouldn't, they are. So that they're looking at you all the time. And one of the things I shared on stage not too long ago is act as if your life is on camera 100% of the time, because in this day and age, that's closer to true than not true. That everything. I mean, if you don't watch any of the Datelines or the murder mysteries or any of that stuff, Randy says it goes along with you only get one time to make a first impression. Absolutely. That's why people do business with those they know, like, and trust.
Man, first impression. What book was I reading? I want to say it was the 33 Strategies of Warfare. And one of the stories in there, and I love those books by Robert Greene because they have all these histories that you don't learn in school and people don't talk about, right? And there's this one guy, and I should totally remember names and be better about this, but I haven't. And I
Yep.
believe it's in Japan, back in the time of samurais, and he's the biggest, baddest. Like his name precedes him. Like there is no first impression because his name precedes him. His first impression is his reputation.
Right.
And his reputation was such a fierce, intelligent general, like not just with an incredible army that just gets what they want, but as a general who just mentally has the strategy, right? And there was one time where it was just not going to work. He was overwhelmed. He was surrounded, and so their cities have these big walls around the main city because back in the day it was
Mm-hmm.
dangerous out in between the city and outside the city walls. And so what he did is he basically sacrificed himself, which is a big thing in Japanese culture. It's kind of like lay on your sword. I can't win, so he made sure everyone hid. All the townspeople, all of his soldiers, he was like, hide and get away, right? And I'll take the brunt. I'll surrender. And he sits at the top of the throne because the throne is kind of like the centerpiece of this like a throne building, right? And it's just him there, and he's just meditating. And the enemy is literally at the gates, and before they step in, because they think they've got him, they see this guy here whose reputation precedes himself, and he's just sitting there. They don't know that he's given up.
Right.
And they're like, you know what? His reputation precedes him. So we're not going to go in because this must be a trap, and they retreat and he wins.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say, it's all about that first impression, your first impression, even if you're doing a speaking event, is not even to me at the point the event starts. It can
True.
be the moment you're speaking. It could be like
True.
Gary Vee. Gary Vee has, and in my community, is well known. His reputation precedes him. It's long before he's made an impression, long before I've ever stepped into an event.
Very true. And that's you're absolutely correct. Again, there are different starting points. So some people say, well, it's when I get on stage. No, it's when you get to the event. Well, actually, you're right. It's actually when they put the event information out and people go, oh, wow, this person has shared the stage with all these people, or this person has accomplished this, or this person has done that. It's absolutely correct. That the point is that if you're going to, there's just certain fields that if you're going to be in those fields, you need to.
That image is perfect.
It is. It's awesome.
The baby, they're getting water, they're cleaning up, they're drinking, they're pumping the well. It's
Yep.
showing that it's not. I think so many people who kind of want to, I don't want to say they want to be greedy, but one of their objections to helping people is like, oh, if we help them, they won't help themselves. And I think when it comes to just dumping food on them and resources, that there's some truth to that, right?
Well,
But
it
when
was
it says
interesting.
teach a man to fish, if you build them a well, all the different things that you can change that they're actually doing.
Yeah, you had said this because you had sent me another potential company that drill or organization that drills wells, and I was looking into it, and it was fascinating to look at the comments that people make, and well, how come you're not helping people in the U.S.? Unfortunately, it's almost hard to help people in the U.S. for a lot of charitable organizations because there are so many regulations and so many things, and there's so much that has to be done that it's a dollar can go a lot farther elsewhere and some things like that. We should all be helping everybody everywhere. I mean, within reason. But the point is, they should also have the opportunity to help themselves along the way too. I mean, if we can do things that. Um,
Hey, Sean, I need pictures. See that big
oh,
blank space right there?
Yeah, I'll get on them about that.
Go over here to pull a link, and I got to remind people of these things.
I will get that. Or we'll make them up for them. Randy says, how you treat the valet, how you say hello to people, and all aspects of your interaction with people. It's very true. Jenna, good point. Need a transition slide that shows what happens when you build a well. What does that enable to do on their own? That enables them to live and care for their family. That's one of the things that enables them to do.
So to some extent, when you're building it, you're trying to show the after effect, right?
Yeah. Well, think about everything you do in marketing, and it's actually on your digital marketer from Russell Dice, the show the after, right? Show the after.
He's huge on the after. And not just the after on the technical aspects of what you have, but the after on how does a person feel afterwards. So that's why imagery tends to be happy, smiling people, right? It's how you change the average day. That's exactly right. How you change their average day. They don't have to walk forever. They're not dying of cholera or dehydration. And then really the status change, and that's where the real empowerment happens, is how have you changed their status? How have you elevated them? When you can bring clean water to a community, I just think of it's hard to wrap your head around this sometimes. Like, again, we always think of third world nations. I went to high school while my dad was stationed in a town called Wichita Falls, just northwest of here.
Right.
And they didn't manage their water contracts. They didn't manage their lake. Texas hit that drought, kind of like the last 10 years, besides this year, has been kind of dry. And they had no water.
Yeah.
They had to stop. You were no longer allowed to fill your pool with city water, but you could drill a well in your own backyard to fill your pool, whatever. They were thinking about having to build a plant that would take sewage and turn it into water. And the city died. A company is not going to move to a city that has no water infrastructure. And that's the same with Africa or the Philippines or Brazil or wherever you might be building water wells. Is if there's not water, the rest of the community cannot flourish. Nothing. You have no water infrastructure, you've got nothing.
The water is life. We're 70+% water. Each one of us is. If there's anything that's foundational, water is foundational. I mean, it's actually what the one country that's figured out how to create water is Israel, being able to desalinate water.
It's not that they created it, but they have to do it. Because this was a big thing with mine. The actual last company I worked for, they wanted to make their mission water as well, water conservation, that water would be like the next oil, clean, drinkable, potable water, right?
Yeah.
A desalination plant takes 10 to 12 years to build. It's like building an oil refinery. Yeah. And then on top of that, you have the problem of what do you do with all the salt?
Yep. No,
I've actually looked that up for Israel. What do they do with all the salt? We don't build the plants because we don't know what to do with the salt.
Yeah, I'm just saying that my point is that on a grand scale, the only country that has really addressed that issue very well is them. Because that's their water source, right? So my point is that water's foundational, and we should be helping everybody with it, and we will help as many people as we can with it. And we're choosing to work with people who have been doing this for a long time, who have done much more research about it than we have.
Speaking, that is becoming a problem with the salt.
Interesting.
They've solved the water issues, but now
haven't
they have
solved the salt issues. That's interesting.
It's new and reliable source of water. It has an effect on agriculture. Because when you have water, you can now grow food.
Mm-hmm.
Improve the quality of water because now they, not dependent on like the water tables and rainwater.
Yeah, I mean, it's all of this is, somebody sits there and says, well, why don't you help this versus that? Or the point is, there's plenty of people we can help a lot of different ways. Let's just help some people and then we'll figure out the rest.
Right. I kind of what I was kind of saying though is it's not a great answer to the problem. Everyone's like, oh, well, think about these countries in Africa. Several of them, as you can kind of see on this cool picture, are right there on the water. Doesn't matter, man.
Yeah.
Salt's not drinkable. Salt water's not.
Totally agree.
That's a hard way to do it. And if you can, put a well in there and they can drink from well water and the water table where the ground has naturally kind of filtered that salt out, it's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not always available. That's one where it became like a big issue. I remember California has having striking water issues.
Oh, terrible water issues.
They've got all those companies pumping the groundwater, all the farms pumping the groundwater.
Yep.
Watering grass. Oh my God, they live in the desert. They live in the desert and they water their lawn so much that grass can grow.
Yes, this would be true.
We went to Jamaica and we're having this nice dinner, and the people of Jamaica are just by far their greatest asset, like, in my opinion, right? And she's waiting on us, and she's making small talk and asking where we're from, and we tell her Texas. She's like, oh my God, like, are you okay? Like, I just stopped the water process, and I'm just like flabbergasted. I'm like, what are you talking about? And you're like,
yeah,
you're having a terrible drought. I'm like, yeah, we're having a drought. They asked us to only water our lawns twice a week now.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't let the news scare you. We're all right.
Yeah, very true. Our issues are not some others' issues.
Right. All right. I'm going to replicate this page. I actually had this as I named it upsell page, but we're going to do this one. So this
I renamed it. Didn't you see that?
You renamed it? Oh, you redid the URL.
Yeah. Sorry. I redid the URL. More donations. Thank you. Isn't that a good URL name?
It is.
For a donation thank you page? I figured that'd make sense.
And this is going to be the $10, well, 10 with an exclamation point, $10 donation page. Again, we're starting with $10 because psychologically people need to start somewhere. All right, so I still have this. And actually, I'm going to go right back out. I'm going to publish it and exit because I don't have the product buttons I need. I'm going to go back over to Smart Membership. Now, this is where membership and running kind of like your business using the membership model becomes really cool. One, you can start taking all the training that you and Sean have done and put that in as like a bonus to people. You can add that to your page as a bonus. You're going to get the U+ travel savings. You're going to get all of our downloads. You're going to get all of this so that they're not just buying travel, they're buying or donation, and they're not just getting travel as a bonus, but they're also getting your information, right? But in addition, you can have different price points. So I'm going to add a price variant. That's $10 to drill water wells. This one is going to be $100.
Oops. Just realized I muted myself. I asked you, how many price points do you think we should add?
I'm a big fan of not having too many. You think about them like holding bowling balls. Every time you're asking and you're offering another option, you're asking someone else to hold a bowling ball. So how many bowling balls can you hold, Scott?
Well, me, quite a few, but no. Does it make sense to go with like the triad again? The 100, 500,000, or the 100, 250, 500, or something like that?
I'm trying to think on a personal level. Like I would donate 10. I wouldn't even trip over it. I think 100 is a nice number.
What's the next nice number?
Who are you? So you've been, what kind of clients have you been trying to attract with the travel vouchers?
We're talking to some monster companies, some huge companies. So, I mean, there's some.
I don't know if we just drop another zero in there.
Well, yeah, well, that's what. So, I mean, my thought was 100, 250, 500,000, 5,000. Now, that's five, and I get that. And that's why I asked the question. So if it costs 5,000 to drill a well, somebody could basically give enough additional donation to get their, to drill their own well. Now, is that pipe dream? Maybe, but so 100, 250, 500,000, the only question is that too many additional offers?
Okay, so you have the U+1 community.
Right.
If you had a paid membership, what would you call it?
If I had a paid membership?
Yeah, get access to.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What would I call it?
Get access to.
The U+1 community is what I would call it.
Get access to U+1 VIP training. And as a bonus, get access to U+1 VIP training and a $1,000 travel savings passport. I want to stack some goodies.
Yeah, well, that's what we had talked about. I mean, we can go with multiples of the travel savings too as they go up in dollars. So that's a way of doing it. We can certainly give we go everything. Both Sean and I. Sean's got, I think, 3 books. I've got 13 or 14 at this point. We could go with a donate $25, get a travel passport, and one each of Scott and Sean's books.
You know what? That's what we were going to do. I remember now we were having this conversation. We were going to set it up like a Kickstarter page.
Right. That's what. Exactly. So that.
This is a dangerous page for me to be on. I'm polling. Oops. I want to search. Find your polling place. Okay. I guess they want me to vote today. Leggings. That was the last thing I purchased on here. Oh. Man. I was hoping he'd do another, if I was going to venture over here, that they would do another set of leggings. I got some leggings that made it look like I had gamer girl legs, like I was a mechanical woman.
That's funny.
All right.
But that's what, if you follow the Kickstarter or any of the crowdfunding kind of things, it's simple digital thing plus physical thing, more, it kind of goes up the.
Here's one we will look at because I think it goes with it. Drops of Hope, Water, Wells, and Aid, a documentary that provides a critical look at aid, water, and American volunteerism in Africa. So cool. If you kind of see what they do, I mean, you still have like the navigation up here. You have the title, you have a little, typically this, I want to say, is normally a video. I guess I did an image.
Should be a video to get engagement.
They've got a video here, so I think they've just gone to dropping the video below. But if you'll notice, all the levels of support, and they use the word pledge, is on the right side. So this is actually not a This is what I call like one of the better modeled ones, but I wanted, like, I think it's cool because it's the water one, right? They've hit
Right.
their goal, 34 backers. So that's kind of cool. I mean, that's quite an amount to raise. Let me pick one of these that's sponsored at the top because I'm going to imagine that they've done a great job. So you've got the really eye-catching image on the top, you know, high color, contrast, all aspects over here, and then all sorts of different ones with great descriptions over each one. And as you're scrolling, right, and you're deciding which one to choose, there's
Right.
all this history and imagery and roadmaps on the other side so that you're getting to know, like, if you're stopping to read this one, this is over there showing you what you're getting, right?
Right.
You know, a seat at the table, a cameo in the actual show. So it's very interesting to see how unique the different offerings are, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I've got a friend, Jeff Hayes, who has done multiple movies, and they've used Kickstarter, GoFundMe, blah blah blah, to raise enough money for the movie. And it starts with get a DVD of the movie to become an executive producer of the movie.
Oh, wow.
And everything in between, right? So at the $10,000 donation level, it was become an executive director of the movie, or executive producer, sorry, or associate executive producer. So that was kind of my question to you. And as Sean and I talked, we've got enough stuff to reward people at a variety of different levels. The question is, what levels
Yeah.
do we feel are important?
A 1 hour consultation, 1 hour meeting.
Randy
What do you
says
call it?
he enjoyed the ride today.
Is that the it's time to go, Jenna? Shut up.
Uh,
I just
right?
realized it's
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
10:02.
Well, we should talk through this, and maybe the thing to do is help you offline, and let's figure out what these numbers are. I can work on that later today.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this up though. At least
Yeah.
this month done. When someone pays for your time, I'm having a brain. Is it still? It's not a consultation.
Yeah, it's a consultation.
Consulting. 1 hour consulting and training meeting with either Sean or Scott. Giving away an hour of your time for every $100 donation.
Good. That works.
Donate $1,000 to drill wells in areas in desperate need, and as a bonus, get access to U+1 VIP training. Get 11 1,000 travel savings passports to use personally or to give out in business. Get a 1 hour consulting and trading meeting with either Sean or Scott. And how do we 10x the offer?
Again, we could. How do we make it worth $10,000? Is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the ways is they've got $11,000 in travel savings. So that's one way we've actually already done that, getting $11,000 passports. But we could put more time in, or we could get a half day with Scott and Sean. I mean, that would be, or we could do it with, I've got a product called 18 Lessons on Demand. Get the 18 Lessons on Demand, which is $3,000 by itself. I mean, we could send more video lessons, more things like that. Just depends on what you feel is appropriate.
We may not be able to continuing to run this as it starts to scale, but I like it. So one is a $10 donation, one is a $100 donation, one is a $1,000 donation.
The only question is, do we want one above it or do we want one in between it?
I think one, build a freaking bridge. So one is just get a page. You're running out of days in October and you want to launch, right? So
we're already in November, so yes.
You know what I mean. Yeah. So my thought is go ahead and get this page built so that you have it like the active campaign, or not active campaign, wrong one. The Kickstarter, where we'll divide it into 2 columns, right, with all the opportunities over here, but get 3 going first. And I think it would be even great to model the page exactly with the best practices of Kickstarter. And there are best practices doing these things in a particular order, right? I think that would be a great example of how and what offers to choose and how to do it and walk people through that, and then using the email to walk them back through that process. I still like the idea that it's only $10 to start. It takes all the pressure off of making people feel bad or something of that nature for not donating more. And then I think this is the perfect timing, because who doesn't want to help their community around Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Absolutely. That's why we want to build one by Thanksgiving, build another one by Christmas.
Boom. Wait. I got one. Prices and levels. Add a price variant. Oops. Let me go get the whole thing. So we are going to do $25, and this is intentional. We drill wells for clean water. And this is going to be specific because what is the average price point of a gift? $25 to $35.
Right.
Donate $25 to drill wells in areas in desperate need, and as a bonus, get one.
What if we send a travel passport to somebody as a gift?
Yep.
Yeah.
Get access to U+1 VIP training. Get $1,000. Get a $1,000 travel savings passports for you. And we will send one $1,000 travel savings passports.
A second one.
And we will send a
second one in your name.
Second. I don't like the word one.
Second travel. Yes, send.
Passports.
We will send a second $1,000 travel savings passport to the person you designate.
As a gift to a person you designate in a I think somebody I know also has this thing that makes cards. You designate.
We do. Yes, we do.
Cool. I like it. That's that middle ground.
Love it.
Especially works for a business. I think that's a really, I think that's a good one.
Agreed.
And they get one.
Yep.
Helps me spell we right. Boom. Okay, so that's what we're going to do then tomorrow is we are going to build an upsell page modeled after Kickstarter to increase
Nice.
donations, to sell more passports. So if you think of some more intervals, this is one where I think since they've already spent $10, that is the big key point here. I don't think that it's outside the realm of adding a few other options and maybe making them very unique as to what they're getting.
Got it. Well, again, we've got books, we've got different things that we can include. So that's good. I like
I
it.
think that's cool. And then if you and Sean can just get together and think of, look up, some Kickstarter best practices and the things and kind of take a look at a few of them and see what information people like to see and hear. And like these visuals are great. They're amazing. Some of that's easier to do than others.
Yeah.
But you can kind of, see, they have a video up on the top.
Yep.
Great visuals and if we're getting really technical, the leaf is pointing at the donation options. Computer pointing at the donation options. Key pointing. And just talk about all the different bonuses. Give me a paragraph about each bonus. Give me a paragraph of what's included in a training from you, what's included with a training from Sean, what's included in a 4-hour training from you and Sean. What does it mean to do anything? And I'll tell you right now, you've seen my office, so has Sean now. Y'all are welcome to use my office. So
that'd be cool.
Here's a really cool thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be, obviously, if they're donating 1,000, 4 hours one-on-one is what they're wanting. However, if you want to make it like for the $100 donation or somewhere in between there, but it's a group training in a small setting, that works really well for that. So think of those and get me that copy, and we'll massage the copy, of course, but think of all those different options. We'll tell the story on one side and make the offers on the other, and we will model the funnel off of Kickstarter. How's that?
Perfect. Sounds perfect.
Outstanding.
All righty. So,
bye guys, and sorry we ran over.
Have a great day, everyone.
We do so good when we just go back and forth. Those are the best ideas.
Yeah, no, I love them. Love it. We'll do it again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.